GamingBolt presents 15 most obscure horror games. In the gaming industry, the horror genre has a lot of fantastic classics, but there are also some more obscure gems that people don't know about but should play if they love a good scare. Here are the top 15 obscure horror games. Deadly Premonition. Solving one of the most bizarre murder mysteries ever conceived is both exhilarating and terrifying. Depending on who you ask, it's either one of the best or worst games ever made. Regardless, it's a special game with a ton of style and a strong mystery to keep the thrills and chills coming. SIREN Blood Curse. Multiple player characters struggle to survive in a branching and intersecting story in SIREN Blood Curse. It's a game that benefits from its structure and the fact that its heavy reliance on stealth only makes the haunting atmosphere even more terrifying. System Shock 2. Fighting a war against an all-powerful AI leads to one of the most suspenseful horror games of all time. System Shock isn't as well known as the series it inspired, BioShock, but it deserves your time. It's a thoughtful and deliberately paced experience that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Silent Hill Downpour. Silent Hill Downpour seems like a pretty standard entry in the series at first, until it begins to rain. The monsters that stalk the small town become much more powerful when the weather worsens. It makes the puzzle solving and combat much more of a worry, especially since the rain can fall at any time. Eternal Darkness, SANITY'S Requiem. The horror of Eternal Darkness is the large role that death plays. At the end of each chapter, the character you controlled can die in a gruesome way. It's an incredibly interesting way to present a horror game, giving the player multiple perspectives that span years, making sure things don't grow stale. Layers of Fear. Psychological horror is difficult to do in a game, but Layers of Fear knows how to get into your mind. Objects warp and twist in front of your eyes, and nothing is as it seems. Paintings follow you with their eyes, and your surroundings can melt around you in an instant. Haunting Ground. Waking up in a mysterious castle after a car accident, Fiona needs to find a way to escape. The horror comes in the form of the castle's inhabitants, who want to keep their new guest inside its rotting walls. You never feel truly safe, even with your canine companion at your side. Call of Cthulhu: Dark Corners of the Earth. Cthulhu isn't like other classic monsters. He's a dark monster, one whose only goal is destruction. So of course, a game centered around the story of a tentacle-faced monster is one set in a world that is falling apart at the seams, adding a sense of dread to the already present horror. Rule of Rose. 19-year-old Jennifer is trapped in a bizarre world ruled by young girls. Their rules are archaic and bizarre, but surviving is the tough part. The only way to get further in the game is to locate integral items and use them to progress, keeping your wits about you at all times in this creepy adolescent world. Cursed Mountain. Cursed Mountain is about just that. A journey up a mountain haunted by the souls of ghosts who have been unable to seek refuge in the afterlife. As you struggle to find a way off of poltergeist-infested peak, you'll free the souls of dead monks and uncover the mystery of exactly what happened. The Thing. Acting as a sequel to the film of the same name, The Thing is a psychological horror game. The scares don't always physically manifest themselves, but the hairs on the back of your neck will stand up more than once. But there are also some incredibly tense third-person shooter segments that keep things fast and fresh. Shadows of the Damned. Shadows of the Damned is a thoughtful combination of horror and action. You'll slink through the shadows and narrowly avoid challenging enemies, or you can simply shoot them in the face. It's a very special game with that trademark Suda51 style that always stands out in the industry. Cold Fear. What's scarier than a near-death situation? A near-death situation filled with water as a ship sinks into the ocean around you. It's an incredibly unique setting for the game. Not only does the story present terrifying events, but the environment crumbling around you adds a sense of fear. Obscure. A teen horror game with a focus on exploration. Obscure is all about leading the player to new scares by placing them in terrifying environments that beg to be discovered. The unique structure and fun homage to a niche genre makes this a horror game worth getting scared for. Soma. During the opening moments of Soma, the main character is trapped in a cryogenic state for hundreds of years. Or so they think. The events that follows are a series of terrifying sci-fi scares that not only terrify the player, but flesh out the deserted beauty of the game's dystopian world. And that'll be about it for this one. If you guys like what we're doing at GamingBolt, please consider subscribing to our channel, and I'll see you guys on the next video.